War, 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 war! We're at war. At least that's what I feel like every time I go to the grocery store. It's capitalism versus my bank account. And that's because eggs are $9 unless you buy the ones that were hatched in a prison camp. I can't afford a sandwich because gluten-free bread's like $7 a loaf. I hear real bread is getting up there, and they want to put a ghost in your fridge that's going to tell you when to buy more milk, and definitely won't be taking pictures of you naked unless you like that. Probably rig that up if you want. And we probably all have something liquefying in our produce store. I know people say they want to save money, but I see a lot of people buying pre-cut fruit like Jeff Bezos as their sugar daddy. We've all heard the same Pinterest core advice of shop the sales, buy generic, buy in bulk, shop the perimeter, make a list. Make a list. Thanks, ChatGPT. I could have Googled that myself. I really do not think the prices in the grocery store are going to get any better, and I'm kind of just riding the waves of hope versus anxiety, but what I've come to realize is there's a lot of things people might not learn earlier on that cause a lot of pain down the road. And I mean, you don't know what you don't know, and they used to teach people stuff like budgeting, price comparison, meal planning at home, nutrition, and
our main purpose is to work out practical ways to serve better meals for less money. A meal should supply 50% of your daily calorie needs, and your two other meals should supply 25% each.
It's not really important anymore because we have our tech oligarchs like DoorDash and Instacart. And I'll be honest, I did take home economics. I think all I did was bake cookies for the Barney's coffee shop downstairs, and I really don't know if I learned that much, but most of the stuff I learned, it was through my mom, living on my own and kind of figuring it all out on myself. And everything I'm going to be talking about today is going to be useful no matter who you are. Whether you just moved out of your parents' house for the first time or again, or if you're a family of 10. I'm just going to share all of the stuff I do to save money on my groceries, how I set myself up for success in the kitchen, and basically everything that I do so that it makes things easier on me, my wallet, and the time that it takes me to cook food. Step 1. Organize the gremlin's nest you've been calling the kitchen.
Get out of my kitchen!
Before you even think about meal planning or making a grocery list, you have to know what's dying in your kitchen. This is not the clearance section in Target, sadly. This is your home, and we're going to be organizing by zone. Like things with like things. You're going to do dry with dry, grains with grains, cans with cans, spices with spices, baking with baking, spoons with spoons, knives with knives. You get it. It's essentially mise en place, mise en place, mise en place. It's French for clean your kitchen. Next thing I want to talk about is FIFO. FIFO is proper food storage. It's first in, first out. Essentially, just eat the oldest thing first. All foods are going to have a best by date, and a best by date is more of a suggestion. It doesn't actually have anything to do with food safety. It's more about how long the product can last in the way that it was packaged and still meet the quality standards of the manufacturer. Unless it's baby formula, and then it definitely has expiration date, like safety issues. The next thing you want to do is you're going to go pantry, fridge, freezer, and you're going to make a use first list. If you don't know what a use first list is, it's essentially an obituary for your groceries. You're going to go in there, you're going to be like, this cucumber has reached the end of the road, and please rest in tzatziki. You're gonna open the fridge, look at it. It's not food storage, it's a hospice. And P.S. Your spices and your cereals and your random stuff does not need to look like a psycho Pinterest mom is building a bunker in a container store. Those containers are not airtight, and they're a huge waste of money. Like, tell me how pantry moths got into this container and not one of those paper ones with like the plastic lid. That's all I can tell you. If you're worried about the aesthetics of how your house looks, you're kind of focusing on the wrong things. You just need to get your stuff in order so that you know where everything is. And another tip about some proper food storage, certain things that I've learned, you don't keep onions and potatoes together because that will cause them to sprout. And if you're a fan of non-brown bananas, if you cover up the little knot that they all come on, that actually keeps them from oxidizing and growing brown because that stem part lets out some kind of fart that makes the banana know to turn brown. Welcome to your kitchen, the place where your produce goes to die. So step 2 is we're going to be doing some lists. We're going to stop shopping like a feral child. I'm just going to go to Trader Joe's and see what the vibe is. No, that is not a plan. That is a cry for help from your wallet. So we're going to make 2 lists. We're going to do perishables, and that means things that'll die faster than your phone taking pictures of a sunset that nobody's going to watch. And non-perishables, things that will outlive us all, survivors like rice, beans, and the Kardashians, and hopefully you don't have any of those in your fridge. You want to get things that are going to survive the collapse of civilization. Instead of making an inventory list, which I really don't want to make time to do, I feel like if I did, I'd probably start looking like Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's...
Take a look at this! Jesus Christ, that right there is, this name keeps coming up over and over again every day.
What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep a rolling back stock list for bulk buys. You're going to set a 5-pound minimum, and if you're buying quinoa in a 12-ounce package, you're going to keep paying convenience store prices. So basically this is going to be the backbone for you to start to build your pantry. We need to be prepared like hunters before we go into the store. We're going to be doing hunting and gathering. We're going to gather the information of what we have in our kitchen, then we go to the store and we hunt. You're going to be meal planning as you're making your list. It's going to be like kind of a hand-in-hand sort of thing. So that's when we're getting into step 3, which is next. Step 3, meal planning for people who hate rules and dry chicken. I'm going to say this once, I'm not going to eat old rice, wet chicken, and soggy broccoli in a plastic box like I'm eating the world's saddest Lunchables. If you've ever had to reheat chicken breasts on day 5, you know what despair tastes like. I basically like doing modular meals. It's like food building blocks, like IKEA or Legos for food, but you don't cry putting it together unless you want to. Shout out to cryingwhileeating.com. For me, meal prep is not supposed to be about having all my meals boxed like I'm eating war rations. It's about having enough prepped ingredients so that cooking doesn't feel like a hostage situation trying to figure out what to eat. Like, what am I having for dinner tonight? And if I have all the stuff that I need to make it, I shouldn't be leaving and running to go get stuff. So the methodology is, think about when you go out to eat, you're going to places like Chipotle. They're basically taking the same 12 ingredients and they're remixing it. All restaurants do this in one way or another. So I just want to talk about like my every week formula for one person. So basically you want to start off with 1 slow cooked protein. Why slow cooked? Because we're going to be doing multiple things at once. We want to maximize our time. You don't need to keep an eye on it, and just make sure you set a timer. You want to do 2 grains. You're going to do 1 grain in the beginning of the week, the cheaper the better, and 1 grain midweek. And if you want to be lazy, you can double up on the same grain and just keep it in the freezer, and it will cook a little bit faster, so that's kind of a bonus. I usually do 1 legume and 1 starch. I'll make a pasta, sometimes a bunch of potatoes. I've been really into having a baked potato with a fried egg and some other random stuff I have in my fridge for breakfast, and it's quick, it's tasty, and I've been really into pasta salads. So once you get your protein, your grains, and your legumes started, you're gonna start on your vegetables. You're gonna chop 2 hearty vegetables that can stay in the fridge without being oxidized. Off the top of my head, the vegetables that I usually do all the time that I know are hearty, it's going to be onions, carrots, cabbage, celery, and flat parsley. I just prefer flat parsley. It's easier to clean. 1 cooked vegetables, char it, roast it, steam it. Just know that once you cook those vegetables, you have to use it between 2 to 3 days depending on what the vegetable is. And then if you need to, just stick it in the freezer if you don't, take the time to actually use it. And then I do 1 sauce and 1 dressing. And every ingredient needs to show up at least twice, and if it's not pulling its weight, it gets cut. You want to think about the basic building blocks for meals on hand in the beginning of the week so that you have loosely prepared things that you can assemble into full meals a little bit more easily. This is exactly how restaurants do it. Like I said earlier, they take about like 20 plus items, they prep them ahead of time, and then they assemble them on the spot. I have had a lot of analysis paralysis when it comes to like figuring out what's for dinner, so doing something like this makes it a lot easier so you don't have to like make everything from scratch every single night of the week, and it doesn't feel like I'm eating leftovers, and that is probably the best part. I know a lot of people might not be confident in the kitchen and don't really know where to start, so the easiest way is to literally make a master list of stuff that you like to eat. Stuff your family cooked for you when you were growing up that you actually liked. Make a list of all your favorite cuisines and restaurants that you've been to. Make a list of like what are the mains of like going to a restaurant, like what do you actually like. On a side note, when you're making dinner, if you don't have specific ingredients, you can substitute, and I'm not here to offend anyone with straying from traditional ingredients, but the fact of the matter is food and culture and location change. Most of the reasons why specific ingredients are used in a dish is because that's what they had where they were. So when people moved or immigrated, the availability of things changed, the recipes had to evolve, and that's how regional variations of cuisines actually happen. Use what you have. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to work. Like, say for instance, if I was making pad thai and I didn't have tamarind juice or tamarind paste, what is tamarind doing for my dish? Oh, it's an acid, it's a little caramelized. I would probably just use lemon and lime, mix it together. Probably a little bit more lemon than lime, and then I would take some sugar and make sure I caramelized it. If I wanted to make pesto and I didn't have basil, what's basil doing for my dish? Well, basil is gonna be a green aromatic herb, so usually I might just use parsley because it's like usually a bunch for 99 cents, and that's a little bit better on my pocketbook, but it's also very tasty. The cheapest food is the food you already own, so use it. Plan around your use first list, then plan around the sales, and then plan for crossover. Easiest example of a crossover is, say you're making pizza dough as your start. In the beginning of the week, double up on the recipe so you get more out of your effort. You can make a flatbread, a topper for a beef pot pie, garlic knots, cinnamon rolls, hand pies, and like the thousands of other things that you can do with pizza dough. And if you don't use it, make a ball, cover it in olive oil to prevent freezer burn, and then put it in the freezer and make sure you label it. Alright, so here are my tips. You want to learn the basics of making salad dressings, marinades, sauces, dips, and spice blends. They're going to be the easiest things to learn because you're basically just combining stuff together. There's no cooking involved. You can make them ahead of time, and it's another way you're probably overspending. When you see a hot new thing at a fast food restaurant, chances are they didn't do anything other than put jazz hands on an aioli. And they're saying that they actually seasoned something for once. The fact that people are actually paying for hot honey is crazy to me because it is so easy to make. One way that I've learned to save money is being an ingredient household. It's the best way to save money. I used to do competitive eating. So I can plow through a bag of cookies or chips faster than I can buy them, especially on the way home from the grocery store. But if you look at the price per ounce of cookies, it's cheaper to buy avocados. That's horrifying. I did the math on the cost if I were to buy one of my favorite bags of gluten-free Mexican wedding cookies, and they're actually not that bad of a price versus me actually going through the lengths of making it myself. And not only was it wildly cheaper, but the amount of cookies you can make is crazy. I try to make sure I don't have too many pre-made snacks because after years of having celiac disease, the price point is honestly never worth it. When I look at regular like non-gluten snacks, you guys are not doing any better.
I do like to do things like I'll make cookie dough ahead of time, edge cookie dough in the freezer.
The cost of convenience is veiled in the illusion of choice. It's a money trap.
If you can make your shopping list by store, you'll know what you're getting, where you're getting it, and you can get in and get out quick. I went to 4 grocery stores in about 45 minutes. It wasn't that bad. The grocery store hopes that you do not come in with a plan because the more you lollygag, the more you start justifying random things around the grocery store.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. You will not save as much money going to only one grocery store, and I actually did a test to see how much money it would be, and if I only went to one grocery store, it was crazy. Until I realized 4 major corporations own all of our grocery stores. They hold a lot of power when it comes to the supply chain, and shopping at one store is essentially just supporting the concentration of power. When you price compare, you're forcing retailers to compete for your dollar. When one chain dominates, they gain control over supply chains, wages, and the local economy. No company deserves your loyalty when they're having secret meetings on how to squeeze more money from you, and if you have never heard of dynamic pricing, look it up, it's kind of scary. Being a whole food shopper is not a personality trait, consumerism is not an aesthetic, and we're not going to be cross-checking Trader Joe's with Walmart and Kroger and Aldi in the parking lot like we're some kind of coupon cryptid. If you don't have a plan for why you're going into the grocery store, just don't go. You're going to overspend because you didn't even have a budget for what you were going in there in the first place for. If you're going to browse, leave your money and your debit card in your car. If you're like me and you walk to the grocery store, leave it at home. That's a humbling experience, walking all the way to the grocery store and not having any money, because you have to look at your impulsive spending habit face to face. It's also a way that you can maybe check the prices, see super clearance items, and actually have a little space between the dopamine from you seeing that price and wanting something and actually making it all the way back to the car. Wants are wishes that can wait for later. Needs are necessities for now. Ask yourself, can I substitute? Can I wait for a better price? Usually the answer is yes, so, just wait. This is basically how I build my grocery list. I start off by going to Flip. You can browse all the weekly ads of every store near you. It has a really handy search function so you can look for specific items that might be on sale that are on your list. And your shopping list is organized by store. It's got a lot of really helpful and handy tabs. This is a great way to familiarize yourself with how much things actually cost in store and what a good price really actually is. I went to Aldi one morning and took photos of all the staples I know are consistently cheap so that when I'm cross-referencing different prices, I can actually see what those things really cost. I use Instacart and Omni Calculator for cross-referencing prices, and you can also shop at stores like Restaurant Depot without a membership, and you can save really big on bulk purchases. I love Copy Me That. It's this app that's basically a recipe manager, a shopping list, and a meal planner, and you can add any recipe from any website with just one click. And if you're looking for something that does all of those things in one, I think it's really handy. My other one that I like using is Supercook. It basically can help you organize your pantry and come up with things to eat based on what you already have in your house. If any of you have any suggestions of apps or tools that I'm missing out on or I should check out, please leave a comment because I would love to hear about them. Links to all of these are going to be in the description as well as my Substack.